Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on a very special day today because we worked very hard to launch this thing while you're here, which is called the Anubis Music Mission. And we will explain a little bit what it is and give you some hints and all of that. But before that, I would like just to present my two peers that are here with me. There's Dominic from the development team that some of you know perhaps. And there's also Ricardo, who is the product manager of the Anubis Music Mission, who is with us as well, who's going to give a presentation about this a little bit later. And if you want to interact with us, do not hesitate. There is a chat, and we will try to follow the chat as well as possible if you have any questions and so on. But first and foremost, we would like to show you a video that we've done. And perhaps some of you saw it already, but the video we've done presenting a little bit some key features of the Anubis Music Mission. It's less than 3 minutes, and then we're gonna be with you just after that. So enjoy the video and Ricardo's music. So, as you could see, there are plenty of exciting things. What I want to say also, meanwhile, is that we have a great review on the Sound on Sound as well that is available today. So if you want to read a bit more about this. But now I'm going to hand over to Dominic, who is the head of software's merging, and he and his team worked, I mean, not only he, many others as well, but in this case, he and his team worked a lot to achieve this Anubis Music Mission, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about this. Please, Dominic.
Everybody. I wanted to add a few words today to this webinar because it's a very special day for merging, as we're actually officially releasing the Music Mission today. There's been a few more webinars before, there's going to be a lot more later, but today is the day for us. I wish this webinar to also be a special tribute to the development team who's been working so hard on this mission since more than a year now. And it's quite a special release in the sense that it has basically involved the entire team, software and hardware, not to mention the marketing, the sales, the production, really everybody. But in terms of development, it's really been a release that involved everybody. The music mission itself, the software, but also the hardware running on the Anubis, the peripheral accessories, the drivers, the tools. And then it's really a major milestone for merging. Most of our other software and hardware devices also have been adapted to the mission to accommodate to the spec to fulfill the mission itself. And of course, a huge thank to Ricardo, who has been tirelessly pushing his vision and whose dream become today a reality, and that he will introduce to you immediately after my speech. But this mission is primarily Ricardo's personal toy, as Ricardo is first a rocker, a music producer, a singer, a guitar player, and for those who had the luck to see him on stage, he's a fabulous live performer. So he's crafted that mission for his personal needs with a clear vision and a very sharp and precise view of his personal needs. So the development team is immensely grateful to Ricardo to have insufflated his vision and led us during the incarnation process of the mission. So today the dream come true, and we, just as a final note, the music mission is then available for download today and for free. So Anubis owners can download it now from our website. It's been published and announced at noon today, and they can upgrade their Anubis immediately. For all others, it's as simple as purchasing an Anubis, and it'll come loaded with it, along with the former monitoring mission too. But in any case, the music mission is available today for everybody and for free. So thanks to all who love our products, and I can safely bet that you're going to love that one too.
We see already some
Thanks,
reactions on the. Thank you, Dominic. We see already some nice reactions from on the chat, but we will try to answer bit by bit. First of all, I want to hand over to Ricardo. Ricardo, as you heard, who is the product manager of the Anubis mission, but also who insufflates the idea and the concept of it. And he will tell us much more about his thoughts and what he designed behind it. Just before reaching to Ricardo, I just wanted to add on what Dominic was saying. We have on our download page now, all the links have been updated with the newest versions, not only of the Anubis firmware version, but which contains the music mission, but also the MAD for the PC, I mean for the Windows driver, the VAD supporting M1 for the VAD for the Mac world. And if you are happy owners of Horuses and Happies, you also need to update them so that you can benefit from the full potential of the Anubis missions. Good. Ricardo, it's your turn. Please.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you to the entire team. Finally, it's the day. Some say the D day. For us, it's the M day because it's the music day. So without everybody's involvement, this would not be possible. So big thanks to the development team that makes dreams come true, if I may say. So it's with pleasure that we present you something that's been waiting and been sitting there on our website. So let me start with, I'll just share a few, a small presentation of what we have done and what's the music mission exactly. So as you can probably see my screen now. So, we had we had those two missions advertised on our site for quite some time. The monitor mission was available at the start with the Anubis, but today we present you a second mission, which was the ambition of the merging team to finally reveal something new, something different, complementary to the Anubis, which is has a great monitor mission, very appreciated, Now we're aiming at something that over the years we've been uh, puzzling ourselves. Let's do that. Let's do something for the musicians at home, the professional recording studio in another way. So basically, what we have now is something intuitive. So you want to record at home. So people doing music, studios, recording, and everybody involved in the music scene uh, wished to have something a digital built-in mixer in the Anubis, so they can work with their favorite digital audio workstation, and also to perform, rehearse, or go live anywhere. So what we have done here is really come up with something. We're not reinventing the wheel in a way, but we're changing a lot of things, and we're coming up with new solutions. So we have really a new thing, which is like you mix in the box from the box. You will see what that means later on. But with the audio over IP expandability, it makes it very great. It makes it expandable easily. So it makes you, with the small Anubis, be able to work and do different workflows. So we come up with a mixer. Finally, we have a mixer. So when you start the Anubis now, you really see a mixing console. So you might think it's just a small mixing console. There's just four inputs in Anubis and a few outputs in Anubis. But with the audio over IP, this is not the case. And even without it, we made a huge console in Anubis. So stand back. One Anubis is a large mixing console like that, which means there's a lot of channels. So as soon as you add another device, audio over IP, Ravenna, AS67, you expand your console with more channels. So it's not like daisy chaining, like you have multiple mixers or things like that. We all embed those additional streams of audio over IP within the same console. So within Anubis, you really can expand it to have a console like that. So it means we have the 6 software playback. So by default, let's start from the root. You just have one Anubis. You want to do music at home. What you get, 4 inputs, the physical inputs we have, 6 software playback. So you can bring in the Anubis mixer, your aux, your DAW, your YouTube, your Spotify to compare mixes and things like that. We have also 5 cues in one single Anubis, 3 sends. So you can add in your mixers hybrid workflow. So you can use like analog gear, like I'll show you later, but basically you can use more things within the, you can immediately inject in the strip some analog devices, gear you have. We have 3 built-in effects, stereo monitors, expandable also, snapshots, presets, and a big central monitoring section to talk to your artist and things like that. So multiple possibilities. If you can see this presentation, you have somebody that can work at home or work with multiple artists, because you can have everybody having their own cues, or do mastering if you want with it, or just do live events with it as well. So you can expand with audio over IP, as you see on the right side. If you want a drummer, typically you can expand with another device and have more IOs, and those IOs are mixed within Anubis. 2 modes of operation we come in. So the default mode is simplified mode. So basically, when we ship by X Factory and Anubis, you have a default mode where you see less features. So we don't want to scare the user that works at home to have too many things and says, oh my God. I'm not going to talk about the competition here, but you know that often in some competition products, you spend your time wondering which effect I'm going to put there, what is going to do. You spend a lot of time also in some big external software trying to find your way and put things. So basically, we have a default mode and we have an expert mode where we unlash the entire possibility of the Anubis. So it's just a switch away in the settings. Now I'll go through the Music Mission overview. So you have a mixer with your 4 physical strips there, expandable if you add more inputs. So as I said before, directly in your mixer. You have built-in effects. So those 2 you see there are the parallel ones. So as in a conventional mixer, it will re-enter within the mixer and act as a dry wet, typically right there. Then you have the DAW, auxes, up to 6 software playbacks. And on the left side, you have, on the right side, you have the control monitoring section. And you see on the right, you have rotary which is the equivalent of going up and down in your strip. We will show you that right now. So I will switch my screen to so that you see exactly with our emulator that's right there. So I'm going to show you here. We're going to show you the emulator. So I'm just emulating what's on the screen of your Anubis when you launch this mission. So you see you have the 4 inputs. So let's go. Let's go what we have. We have 4 inputs physical, the effects returns here, parallel ones, the DAW, the auxiliary, and we have a talkback section. Now I'm today we're going to see the expert mode very quickly, but this is what we have now. So typically the console strip. So let's start with the console strip. What does it mean? When you see a console strip, typically you see from top, it's pretty small for you there, but basically if you see the image of a console strip here. So we'll go from the top to the bottom of the console strip here. So what does it mean? On a physical console, you will have the preamps at the start. So we have a preamps here. As you can see, you can quickly adjust your microphone. So you plug the mic, you adjust the preamp, immediately you're on. Now you have the signal, followed by what? You have an EQ. So in here at the bottom, we have the channel features here, the rest of the channel features. So we have the EQ. So the EQ here, we have a 4-band parametric EQ here. So quickly you can really put your nice touch, adjust the EQ, and then what we have next is the dynamics. So we have a dynamics with 3 modules in the dynamics. So it's series module. It means that each module can independently have its own settings and be processed in series. So I can, in this case, activate only the compressor, or I could decide to activate the gate, the compressor, and the limiter and have a full dynamic here. So basically, it really is flexible. So it's emerging dynamics. It works in DXD also, 352.8 kilohertz. So everybody gets this one free. All what we're showing, you get it, and it's working. So basically, you have the dynamics, which is the next step here. And followed here, we will see what's following here is that when I go back to my mixer here, if I toggle the home button, I go through the rest of the channel strip. So here I have immediately the reverb here. So this is the reverb I can adjust as if it's a console. And next to it is a parallel dynamic. So we have the luxury to actually have 3 dynamics in this mission, 1 on the channel, 1 in parallel, and 1 on the outputs. So you could limit a headphone set to a cue to an artist, or you could EQ the outputs of your headphones or things like that. So we have 3 levels here of effects and dynamics, three levels of the dynamics here. But here we have the parallel. Typically, those of you that mix drums know that parallel busing on the drum squashes it and gives you more punch and things like that. So you have the luxury of having 1 here. So this is the one actually that's right here. That would be the parallel one. Then followed by that, what we have is the rest of the things, which is the send. So you see you have 1 send. Send is very nice because I don't know if you see me still, but let's say I have this little big muff here. I like this pedal. So if I use that pedal, I can connect it directly with the Anubis here in one of the output, one of the input, and immediately I can send it in my strip. So I could put distortion on my voice immediately, or typically I could use a pull tech, probably not as a parallel, but as an insert. But you can do all that. So we have the send here. We have, excuse me, you have 3 sends here within the console strip. So I can, as you can see, I'm cycling up and down the strip, up, down the strip. And then lower to that strip, what we have is the rest of the monitor of the console strip and monitoring feature is we have all these cues and things like that. So we're in expert mode now. So we see that we have 5 cues for the artist here. So this is within the mixer possibilities. We have the reverb that we saw hit. So as you can see, if I tweak the reverb of this one, it's a fader view in this case. So if I look at the reverb, you will see at -15 or something like that here, that if I go back to my reverb view, I have the same thing here. So this is my reverb for those who want to work with touchscreen and things like that. It's more convenient than rotary sometimes. So you have this here for the reverb. What else we have is also in the mixer menu here. So it's mixing elements, mixer elements. We have the dynamics, the parallel one, and we have the 3 sends. So this is where I was showing you the big muff pedal. You could put it there, or you can put a pull tech and you can route it where you want. 5 cues, alternate mix. For those who are familiar with you, if you look at the small console, typically like that one here, you will know that the headphones, when you connect the headphones, what does the headphone listens to? It's a replica of the mixer. So the mix out is a replica of the mixer, but it has its independent volume. So it's a bit like this jack here. But what we did, the difference between our alternate is that we can use it in various ways, because the alternate can do also 2.1, 2.2. So we can use the crossovers within the Anubis, which is even greater than using a built-in crossover in the sub, because then you can isolate your monitors and decide what you want to listen to and use our crossfeed inside. So, our crossover, excuse me. And we also have the crossfeed on the headphones. So these are all the possibilities of the mix out here, but you can tweak those and decide those in the settings. The rest of the elements in here is where does all this go out to? So this is the bus routing. So this is where you decide what goes out where. So my mixer is here, and I want it to the main out. So think of all your mixers. My reverb, I won't touch it. The sends, if I connect the send, probably if I use a stereo delay I like in the rack, I will probably send it to 2-channel stereo, and I will have it directly in my send one, as we could see earlier. The rest of the elements are just routing the headphones and things like that. So if I have the Q1, I can decide that the Q1 will listen actually to the headphone 1, and the Q2 will listen to the headphones 2. So I can immediately patch who's listening to what. So let's continue here in this. Yes, when you can, well, basically import different mixer. This I will show you right there. Actually, I think it's better I go right here. Sorry for me. So the cues, what we have here is 5 cues here. So I like to rename this cue, by example, Lisa. So Lisa is my singer. So I will be polite. I will give her a color, and I will say that this is her mic as well. By the way, we have in the channel strip all the features of linking, right, of grouping, and all that is available in the channels here. So I could do. So let's say she's listening to her mic, and this is the mix I make for her because she's performing live. You have to understand that the way this mission, first of all, applies to is people recording at home and that are using a DAW that can, as soon as you enter, you add a few plugins, you have a huge latency, and then you just cannot sing over that latency. So what you do is you mix the direct microphone, the direct inputs with the DAW software playbacks or other elements or other performers in the same room as you, so that it can also be without a DAW. Somebody could launch a metronome cue and everybody plays at the same time. So the 5 cues you see, I have another cue here. He would be my bass player, let's say. So we can see that every cue has their own mixers. So we have 5 of them. Some will not use the cue. Some will stay probably the entire time recording at home, doing overdubs, and punching things using probably just the direct mic soloed with a fallback minus output from the DAW. So basically not to have a phasing issue or problem of delay, because the DAW has a lot of delays. So you're summing what you're playing over with your direct microphones, guitars, and things like that. So you can be at home and probably just go like that. So, and just be pretty much the entire time in just this page recording. But once you have multiple artists, what you have is a different workflow because you have multiple performers. And this is where we become, this is where it becomes a really big thing in one Anubis. 5 cues. So I have my 5 cues. You can see my Lisa has her mix. The bass player will have his mix and things like that. So now what we have also is a monitoring control section for these performers. So if I'm, let's say I'm the sound engineer, I'm here, I'm most of the time probably going to listen to the DAW in my big monitors in the studio, and I will probably listen to that most of the time, and then probably engage the solo exclusive we have and just probably go and listen to Spotify to compare mixes if I'm at the end of it. But if I'm recording with artists, I will communicate with my artist with this section here. In here, what we have is the cue monitoring controls. So my Lisa, the singer, is here. What I'll start from the bottom because it makes more sense. So cue to mon is I'm listening to her mix. So the mix of Lisa is injected in my studio control room. And I'm right there. I'm no longer, as soon as I touch this, I'm no listening to my DAW, I'm listening to her mix. And then if she tells me I cannot hear the bass, the guitar, I can go to her cue and say, okay, there you want more. I will hear it, but I can immediately adjust her cue and go back as I'm the mixer here. I'm the sound engineer. And I can do the same for all of my artists. And I have a small level here, so I can have the level of their mix in my studio to the level I wish to listen to without busting their ears, of course. Then we have the talkback. So I'm talking to Lisa, I'm talking to my bass player, I'm talking to whomever I want, or I talk to all the artists and say, give me the better performance, or let's go, guys, the cue starts in 10 seconds, I will launch a metronome and things like that. So this is what we have here. It's a pretty advanced monitoring section. And on top is the opposite of cue to mon. So it's mon to cue. So it's the mixer that's injected in the headphones of the singer, of the performer. As you know, if you work with cabins or recording booth, your artist is there. We talk to the artist, we prepare their mix. And when they do their recording, they're listening to their mix. So she's listening to her mix here. And what I will do as the sound engineer is I will, after the take, inject the big DAW mix. So it's no longer the low latency mixer she listens to. She listens to the big mix with the big reverb and the producer that comments the take and does, say, repeat that sentence and things like that. So that's what we have right here. So as you can see, quite advanced monitoring control. And when you are in simple and default mode, it's simplified, you just see one control strip here. You just see one. We don't want user to have immediately everything they don't want to see. So, and be confused. So one here, and the rest of the monitoring features of the Music Mission is here you have your main level. So I'm in my studio and we can recall, I can mute, and I can recall my reference. So if I recall and unmute, and then I have the dim. So if I have a phone call, something, I need to lower the level, we'll talk, have the discussion. I do that. The mono, as you know, most of you, phase checking, very important. So this is a stereo mission at the moment, and it's a stereo mission. So you mono down mix here. And the solo clear. So if you have multiple solo, you have the solo clear. So those are the monitoring section here. The three built-in effects, we saw those. We didn't see the reverb yet, but as you saw when I said that Lisa will be in her cue, so I'm Lisa, she's the singer, I can tweak and hear and go immediately put reverb on her headphones, in her mix actually, and immediately I can also edit the reverb, go a smaller one, or load one of the 6 default snapshots. So I can load, I say, well, let's say we'll start with the plate. So I recall the plate, I'm there, and I say, oh, well, it's too bright a bit. I want it darker, less. And it also, if you know, if you reduce the diffusion and it becomes a delay. So it's also becoming a delay, this reverb. So it's quite nice for monitoring purposes. It immediately gives space to your performer and immediately you get the most out of them. The rest of the things here, we have the snapshots and presets. So we have 18 snapshots and presets for each effect. So as you saw in the reverb here, we took some for the factory. So you have still 2 rows left of snapshot, but depends on the effects. But most effects, you have 18 snapshots available. And here in the, here in the bottom menu here, you have the rest of the feature, and that's where you have the snapshots. I didn't show you that yet. Reset peaks, just to reset the peaks of the mixer. Fine precision, you see the little F. Some will remember which F it is if you're good. And this little thing, fine precision, is that it's like those who have a phone today, they have more precision with the finger. So basically, you probably will start your mix without fine precision, do a quick mix very quick, and then at the end, work in fine precision to do the little adjustment here. So we have that. We have the show all aux, which shows the 6 software playbacks we have. As I said, it can be mixes, fallback mixes for your performers, or it could be Spotify, it can be other things. So your singer could have this one, the guitar player could have another one here, and everybody could have their own auxiliary mix that it's injected in their cue. So we have this here, and the rest of the menu content here is the bus routing. We saw it. Strip setup. It allows us to move strips around or enable or disable strips. So I can re-enable, but basically I could move the strip here. So imagine, well, in simplify mode, we don't show you that, but think of somebody who has a stage box and screwed up something and plugged the kick after the snare. So instead of going on the stage and things like that, right here you can you can swap the kick for the snare, and immediately, as most of you will kick, snare, hi-hat work in that order, you can do that, or you can, even better, disable everything and leave one strip for the singer. So if Lisa is singing in a recording booth, I can hide everything, and she has the Anubis in front of her, and she sees only one strip here. So we can do that with the strip setup. The rest of the snapshot here is what we were going through here. Snapshot, 18 snapshot of the entire Anubis. So you can recall your guitar setups, your vocal setups, your bass recording, your mixing, and it can also be songs. It can be a set list. You rarely have more than 18 songs in a set list, but it could be a set list, and you can use the pedal to switch between presets. So you can imagine a ballad where you have a longer reverb, a different song where you want some distortion on the vocals, and you have that pedal right there on the floor. You hit the pedal, you have a drive on the vocals, so you can recall all these setups here as well. Peering is where I would say it's quite amazing what the team has done. Cannot thank anymore. I'm grateful for the team, and especially Bertrand worked really hard on that. And it's revolutionary. So basically what it means is that quickly I can expand my Anubis. So what does that mean? I go to the menu here, I select peering, it discovers what's online. I don't need a computer. I don't need an EMAN. I don't need anything else than my Anubis and the device. The merging device, in this case, right here. So I select the happy, and I say, I want 8 more microphones for my drum. And I want a pair of headphones from the happy. Voila. Immediately, look at that. I have the entire drum kit here. Kick, snare, hi-hat, everything is there. I can group it, and I can immediately as well go to the preamps. And I can adjust the preamps of any channel of the peered module. So it can also be here, we can immediately inject ADAT digital IOs in the Anubis mixer. Immediately, we have the possibility to do that right here. So the peering is on my entire drum is here. So this fictive element on the left, but my Anubis becomes greater and greater and larger, and so it becomes the large mixer we showed you above, which is 48 channel. And then what happens is that, let's say the drummer is here. So this is Bill. So Bill is the drummer here. And Bill, right there, what happens is if I go to the bus routing, I can see that Bill, I can send him immediately. I was worrying that this would happen. It's the emulator here, but I can send him immediately the headphones in it. Sorry about that. It's an emulator. It's not the real Anubis, but probably a conflicting. So I can adjust this, and this is where I was coming to finally. This slide explains what we did, is that each musician here have their own cues and can work and listen to their fallback mixes and perform. And the drummer here, where we added the microphone, we peered the 80 microphone here, and we peered the headphone set, and it went into Anubis, got mixed, distributed to every performer, sent back to the headphones in low latency, excuse me, so that he doesn't flam. Nobody wants to drum and start flamming. So basically, in ultra low latency, the drummer plays. And while those of you know that drummers like to have their kick and snare very loud in their headsets, and he can have a lot of the bass there, and the bass player can have a different mix than anybody else right there. Remote control is what we have now, is a remote control. As you can see in this slide, we see the entire channel strip this time. So it's easier to understand the channel strip, how it's made. So we have done is a full standard, it's a full touchscreen remote control. So you can use it on a phone, on a tablet, on a computer. And you can imagine somebody in a recorded booth and they can have a phone and they can control their monitoring mixes here. So we have done all that. Thanks you, Dominique, for that. And Valentin, of course, and the entire team, basically everybody. I don't want to name too many names because I will forget, but there's so many contributors, you know, from the dynamics, like and Florian, from I mean, George, the drivers and everybody. Guys, it's amazing, I think, what we've done, but I want to congratulate the team. So we have the two new drivers here. So we have the mat. Those who are familiar, it's our driver for Windows 10 today with WDM, but it includes today a new feature, which is the Unite for the monitoring mission especially. And we have the virtual audio device for the Mac that now supports M1 before some big known companies doing software not support M1 yet. We're there. We have it. So we have it. We're ready for you guys working with different softwares on the M1. So the MAD and the VAD come with Unite, which is a simplified patching, audio over IP patching solution. So it's an automatic audio over IP patching, if we might say. It's a click away. So basically, what it means is that once the Anubis has paired a module, if it does, because many of you will just work probably just with an Anubis and just a system, or maybe some will use it standalone, because what we showed you is 100% standalone. You remove the Ethernet cable, you go rehearse, you go play, you have a mixer in your hand with a full channel strip, EQ, compressor, reverbs, everything is right there in your hand, right there. So that's what we've done. And here we have the Unite panel. So the Mac and the panels here. Thanks, David, also for all the work here and testing. So this is what we have here is the Unite panel. So just a click away, you unite and we automatically patch the thing. We know that people coming from other manufacturers might not be at ease with audio over IP, might be scared of it. But in the end, all you need, get your Mac, get an Anubis, get the tiny adapter. I have many of those tiny adapters, like this little thing here, USB-C. You plug it on your Mac, you connect Anubis, and you're on. One click away, all the audio over IP is connected. You launch the DAW, you start to record. You have to understand that it's super fast. It can be super fast now, monitoring and making your takes, because you mix in the box from the box if you want. So you immediately have the channel strip, go set your vocals, start to record, and you're here. You're non-destructive on the recording that time. So voila, I think I'm over it. It might have been a bit longer than I thought, but Maurice, I need a drink.
That was very good,
Dominique,
Ricardo. Very nice. Yes.
Your camera is shaking a bit, Dominic.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's finding the unmute button shakes the camera.
That's a good
So
way.
I'm waiting for Maurice to rejoin. We don't hear Maurice's mic. It seems to be muted.
Sorry, I forgot your mic to send it to you, but to the audience it was there. So thank you, Ricardo, for this great presentation.
Hope I did not talk for nothing.
No, don't worry.
No, you were there.
But we had some great questions at the same time, on which I tried for some of them to reply and to respond. And yes, so you saw this great web browser. There were some questions also if on the web browser there will be the plugins. This will come in a future version, but it's in the pipe already. Obviously, as you can see already, for those who have the Anubis monitoring mission, you could see and witness that there have been features added on within time with new firmwares, and that will be the same with the music mission. Of course, there will be some corrections, certainly, but there will be especially some new features that are already thought of, that we have in our mind, but that all takes time to develop. But the idea, the concept of what is available now is that it works. What Ricardo showed, you can work with. You have everything available. There were also few questions. What is important to understand is that we try at merging as much as possible to always be retro compatible with devices that have a certain age or time. So if you for instance have a Horus and a Happy, you can benefit from what's happening with the Music Mission. It means the only thing, obviously, is that you need to bring your Horus and your Happy, but it's free of charge, to the latest firmware, so that everybody is, so to say, can talk to each other with those new features, and then you can benefit from the peering, for example, without any issues. So this is working, and the
A
great
little
thing,
comment here,
yes,
Maurice, you replied uh, on the chat about the how to record
yes, I
inputs
was
in
coming to that.
uh, this is actually already possible.
Yes, but you cannot
Um,
do it for each channel
oh yeah,
individually.
you every single channels, local or peered, are immediately unitable to the DAW with a single click. So anything that comes in the Anubis can be recorded separately immediately now.
Okay.
That's united. Any peered channels that are coming from another device like an Happy Mark II or an Horus or whatever into your Anubis can be united to your workstation and recorded directly.
Yeah, the only thing
That's the
we yeah, exactly. The only thing that's currently possible in the other phases, I'm not sure the question. I didn't read it, but it's if you want to record post effects,
Exactly,
post
that's the
channel
point.
shift. This is a
That's
bit
the
different.
point.
this
That's the
one
live
is going
situation.
to require a little more. Yeah.
Exactly,
And we
that was the
record the
point.
bus.
That's why I was answering that, because that will come. If it's in a live situation, you're going to use the effects that you have in the Anubis, the compressor and the EQ.
Yeah, what we can do is today you can record the bus's output, so you could route a signal, a channel strip to a
Exactly,
bus and record that. You can do it post processing today, but I would
exactly.
say
So
not multi-channel immediately, but you can do it.
So to come back, what is important, if you have Happy, Horus, one or the other, Happy 1, Happy Mark II, Horus, or an Anubis that you purchased, for example, 2 years ago when it was launched, or since it was launched, you just update. You go very straight away. Some of you also noticed that we made a typo mistake on the VAD generation date of 2020 on the website. Actually, it's 2021. It was today. It has been corrected. You download the VAD if you're on a Mac, the MAD on the PC, and the firmware of your devices, and up you go. You update them and you can work with them. There were also some questions which is perhaps interesting and important to understand for those who have an Anubis monitoring mission. The monitoring mission still is there. It doesn't disappear. You can really go. I mean, you press during 3 seconds on the triangle of the merging logo, and then you're on this page where you can go to the settings and so on. And you will, once you install the Music Mission or the firmware containing the Music Mission, you then can swap from the monitoring mission to the Music Mission. So it means that you need to use for a live performance your Music Mission, for example. You do your thing, you do your work, you can record it and whatever, and then you want to go into the studio, edit it, mix it, master it, then you go back to the monitoring mission that provides, of course, a much more complex monitoring capabilities that is overkill for a music mission. So that's why you have both in that way, and you don't lose one or the other. You just toggle from one to the other. There was also a question from another user, which I found interesting, is that can I use an Anubis with a music mission and a second Anubis with a monitoring mission? Of course you can do that. This is the beauty of it. You can really set, it's just an application, and you toggle from one to the other. So you can have two Anubises that are sometimes set both into Music Mission, and sometimes, because you need it, one is in the monitoring mission and the other one is in the Music Mission.
That's our
More than
colleagues,
that, you
Patrick
can
Wolfram.
hear them together. So you can actually mix in the Music Mission and monitor in the other one.
Exactly.
Where, and it's described in the user manual, or and it's been seen in the PowerPoint, Ricardo's PowerPoint. You can have multiple Anubis, one running the Music Mission, for instance, and then one is the main one operated by the sound engineer, and musicians can have their own Anubis and have their own mix, and they're all mixed in the main one. So you can use Anubis as either the main one or as a peripheral or for a musician queue or multiple musicians remotely on one and the engineer with some other musician on the second one. So you have all the flexibility to
Yeah.
dispatch one or many Anubises.
Exactly, and it deports some of the processing. It deport some. You saw that we still have 21 EQs, like 64 dynamics, but we have one reverb. So if you have a second Anubis, then the other artist performer can use a different reverb setting, and at that moment or different. You have 21 more EQs, so you have 42 EQs suddenly. So basically, yeah.
Exactly. So perhaps to synthesize a little bit all of that, first of all, I would like to say one thing is that this is not the only webinar, obviously, that is going to be made and or tutorial or whatever. There's going to be many other videos and webinars in the near future that will be available. So stay tuned, where we will then take topics and go into how to do this, how to do that, and so on. 2 points I wanted to make clear. One is that, and there were some questions about this in terms of the connectivity. I'm talking here about the physical connectivity over as a network. Is that some people said, yes, but I have an Anubis Ethercon, so with one RG45 connector. How could I use then the peering with my computer? Obviously, you can use the networking, but you just need a configured a switch, one of the recommended switches with the configuration that we have. And then instead of the two connections on the Anubis SPS, so the one with the two RG5 connectors, the ones who have only one RG5 connector, they just need to add a switch, and then they could put devices on there to connect several devices on the network and use the peering. It has one advantage, is that you're not limited to two hardware devices. That is the, so to say, the maximum possibility of the Anubis SPS. So you can grow your network environment further, which can be very interesting. And there was one question I would like to also just approach, which is interesting. We were talking about, Ricardo, sorry, was talking about the web browser, the great web browser we have with a great overview and all of that. And what question came up also, what are the controller compatibilities? So for the moment, it is hidden. Once you will install today, I'm talking here May the 20th, when you install today the Music Mission, you won't be able to see this option. But with an update, you will have the possibility to enable OSC remote control. So in the future, you will have OSC, which is, for those who don't know, it's a very open, very broad protocol that is available with, for example, iPads and other applications that you can download. You can link objects to it and whatever. And so that means that your Anubis will be able to talk OSC, the Music Mission, and so you will be able to remote control it. So this is not available today, but it will be in a future update very soon. Anything more, Ricardo, you would like to add, or Dominic?
Well, it's a day of celebration.
Exactly.
We're not drinking, we're not celebrating. But all I can add is we just hope we hope you will appreciate the work we've done. We believe it's a unique solution. You saw the possibilities, and you have to remind yourself, you hold the Anubis in your hand and you have a mixer right there. You give it some power supply and you have a mixer in your hand, and you can mix things. You can decide to go rehearse, to bring it instead of bringing another console, and then you can go in your studio and start recording at home, or you can start mastering and things like that. It's very powerful, and those that knows the specs of the emerging product knows that we're right on the top of the list right there. So it's great that we are here today. There will be, of course, more developments with it. We'll have more feedback. It's new, so it's there to download and start making music. So as we say, it's music time. That's what I can say.
That sounds like a great end, Ricardo.
Now we'll sleep all weekend because we worked so hard on this thing, yeah? Oh, no.
I think you found a great sentence and a great end sentence. So anyway, we will have coming webinars. They will be announced. Stay tuned, please. Thank you very much, Dominic. Thank you very much, Ricardo, for being there. And thank you very much for the merging team, all what you've done there, which is, I think, amazing. And I think our people, the people who have already Anubis, who tried it out, perhaps today already, are very pleased with it. We got some great comments already. We're very proud of it. And yes, please stay tuned. Have
Maybe
a
a
nice
word,
morning, day, evening, wherever you are, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah, Maurice, maybe a small word. What's
Yes,
coming
sorry.
next week for tutorials and stuff like that? Maybe you can say.
Yes, I
Yeah,
said it.
Okay, you said it. Okay.
I said
So-
it already that it will come. It will. I mean, people will be informed. There will be webinars. There will be tutorials. Stay tuned for that. Cool.
The moment if you download it now, there's a user manual and everything, and if our Confluence database is up to date also, so you can find your way through. And it's music time. Thank you.
Exactly.
so
Bye bye.
much.
Thank you. Ciao, Dom. Ciao, Ricardo.
Enjoy all. Have a great end of week, and hopefully we can. Bye, guys.
Ciao.